welcome back to my YouTube channel. Glad to have you all here with me today. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel so you never miss another notification. Today we're going to be talking about comparison and insecurities and jealousies and all. I want you to know that you don't have to be insecure. You don't have to compare yourself because God made you unique. Why on earth, if you are already created and was made unique, why on earth will you allow your insecurities, comparison, and all that make you change who you are to be like another person? Don't do that. Comparison and insecurity and jealousy is a trap of the enemy to keep you from being who God made you to be. Because that's the enemy's goal, is to keep you from being God, who God made you to be. And we can't allow the enemy to do that and to lie to us. And I just want you to be the person, be the flower that waters everybody's garden. What I mean by that is, I don't want you to be selfish. I don't want you to be insecure and thinking about yourself. I want you to be the person that waters everybody else, that helps people, that serves people, that prays for people, that loves people, that shows people kindness. I want you to be that person. I want you to be, because that's who God created you to be, to serve others and to point others to Him. So why would you trade that to be just another copy of somebody else? In a world that's constantly changing and telling people to be yourself, there's a lot of people that's not themselves. They go and do what the person next to them does, simply because it's popular. Or they are jealous and they're not grateful for what they have. I want you to focus on not a perishable crown, but the everlasting crown. And what I mean by that is, maybe, for example, if you're insecure about a certain way you look, or whatever the case may be, I'm going to just use looks for example. I don't want you to be focused on that, because God's not focused on the outside. God cares about what's on the inside, what's going on the inside. That's what He is focused on. That's what He cares about. Because all this is a vapor. All this is going to go away. All this is going to fade. All of this is going to fade someday. So I want you to be focused on things that matter, not things that don't matter. And when I say I want you to chase a everlasting crown and not a perishable crown, Paul talked about this. The reason why he said that is because back then, Olympic Greeks and all that, was Hebrews and all, was doing foot races and all kind of Olympic games and all. And some of them was training for months. Some of them was on diets, trained for months. Some of them put in blood, sweat, and tears into their training. Some of them even died before they even got to do the games. All for what? For a stick, celery crown that will wither within a couple of days. And you might be thinking, that's crazy. They are crazy, right? But yet you're focused on your looks. That's the same as that crown. Because your looks is going to fade just like the crown is going to fade. The crown withers. And your looks is going to wither just like that crown. And you're focused on that perishable crown. I want you to focus on Jesus. I want you to focus on doing the Great Commission. I want you to focus on doing what God tells you to. to be obedient to God, to do His will. I want you to focus on that. I don't want you to focus on these perishable crowns. And when you're insecure, when you're jealous, when you're in comparison, guess what? You're focusing on those perishable crowns. You're not focusing on the everlasting crown like you need to. You're focusing on those perishable crowns because you're so busy comparing your life to somebody else and not being happy with your life. Well, you need to be grateful for what you have, because a lot of people may be looking at you wishing they had what you had, but you're so focused comparing that you don't see that you're very blessed. I want you to focus on serving others, loving others, showing people kindness. That's what I want you to focus on. I want you to focus on being who God made you to be, created you to be. You were created on purpose, for a purpose. Guess what? God created you. There is never going to be another you. God made you an individual. He made you unique. He wove you together and knit you together in your mother's womb. There's never going to be another you. And that's not saying to be cocky, to be confident in yourself, because that's going around a lot in the world too. Self-confidence. Well, no. Be confident in who you are in Christ. Don't rely on self-confidence. Self-confidence fades away too. It'll go away. You need to be confident in who God says you are. You need to be confident in God. You need to have that confidence, which is confidence in God, because He is the rock that won't move. If you're relying on self-confidence, there are some days that you're going to be upset and you're going to be in comparison and insecure because you're relying on yourself instead of relying on God. You need to be confident in who God says you are. Your identity needs to be rooted in Christ, not everything else. Because if it's rooted in everything else, your emotions is going to fluctuate. You're not going to be happy. You're not going to be joyful. You're just constantly going to be depressed and jealous and just have all these other things going on simply because you're trying to do it yourself. You're trying to be self-confident instead of just being confident in God and who He says you are. And He says that you are loved, you are chosen, you are made in His image, which means He crafted you together on purpose, for a purpose. You are made for more. You are made for more than to be a copy of somebody else. God made that individual. He made you an individual. It's time that we step out of the insecurities, out of the comparison, out of the jealousy of that other person and step into the daughter or son that you are called to be. It's time that we step into who God says we are, step in who we are as a child of God. It's time to let all that other stuff go. Time to let the insecurities go, the comparison go, the jealousy go, the bitterness go. It's time to let all that other go. Because in the end, the stuff that you're focusing on that is perishable, in the end, it does not matter. I want you to ask yourself, who am I living for? Am I living for myself? Or am I going to live for Jesus? Am I going to be all in for Jesus and say, you know what? I want to make an everlasting impact. I want to have that everlasting crown, not the crown that's going to fade and wither after a couple of days, not the crown that's going to make me feel good for a little while. Then I start feeling upset and my emotions fluctuate because it only makes me feel good for a little bit? Or am I going to chase that crown that will not wither, that will make an everlasting impact that is eternal? Am I going to try to chase that am I chasing that crown? Am I focusing on that mission that God has called me to? Or am I going to keep on looking at all these other people and be insecure and talk down on myself because of insecurities or comparison, and just speak down on myself and not ever step into God, who God called me to be? I want to encourage you to not do that. Be who God created you to be. Be the child of God that you are. God bless you all. I'll see you all again next time.